Welcome to another episode of Austin Comedy Network Interviews. Today we are here with the great Rick Diez, also known as Sad Man Rick, Golden Ticket winner of Kill Tony. It's great to have you here. So this interview was recommended to me by Chris from Thailand. We didn't do a whole lot of catching up and stuff before this interview because I just wanted to get to explore you as a genuine first interaction. So first off, tell me a little bit about yourself. You said you were from Brussels, Belgium, right?
Oh, that's a question?
Yeah, you're from Brussels, right?
Yeah, I was born in Spain.
Okay.
Then I moved to Belgium as a child, and I lived in Brussels for a long time, yeah.
Okay.
I grew up in Brussels.
How long did you live in Spain?
When I was a kid, about 7 years.
And then you moved to Brussels at age...
7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been living in Belgium ever since?
No, I lived in Belgium until I finished college.
Okay.
Then I did a master's in Spain, then
Mm-hmm.
went back to Brussels for work, and then traveled, then went back to Brussels for work, then traveled for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how I ended up meeting Chris from Thailand.
Dope. And how many places have you traveled?
Places I've traveled a bunch. Places I've lived, less, I guess. Long-term living, I've lived in 5-6 countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
And take me through the list of places that you've lived first.
Well, I've lived in Belgium. I've lived in Spain. I've lived in Mauritania, that's West Africa. In Laos.
Oh, really?
In China, in Thailand.
Okay.
And I'm back in Brussels. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been all over the eastern part of the globe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't done South America or Central America.
What do you think is the best? What do you think, in your experience, out of the places you've been, has been the best place to live? And then give me the worst after.
That's very subjective. The best place to live, I think, to me, if you have the money, it's still Spain.
Mm-hmm.
The worst place to live, again, it's just depending on money. But I would say I don't like living in countries where there are big disparities in wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So where if I'm going to have money, I'm going to feel a lot richer than people that are very, very, very poor. And I'm talking just dirt poor.
Yeah.
Just right next to you.
No running water poor.
Yeah, and and you coexist within that environment, and and I also don't want to live in a ghetto of rich people,
Mm-hmm.
or it's like.
So I'm guessing West Africa was.
No, but they will all live together in some gated community, and then everything else around it will be just dirt. So it's bizarre. I prefer when the standards of living are a bit more averaged out.
Yeah.
And you seem like you're living with your peers.
Okay.
So in Brussels, I'm fine. When I get out of my house, everything kind of looks the same everywhere I go in the city. Of course, there's areas that are less wealthier than others.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not the transition is not that brutal as it can be in other places.
So forgive me for being an American and being sucking at geography, but I believe Belgium is next door to Switzerland.
It's not. By American standards, it's not far, but there's no borders between those two countries.
There's no borders between Belgium and Switzerland.
Switzerland is east of France, and Belgium is north of France.
Okay, so what countries border Belgium?
France, Luxembourg, Netherlands, and Germany maybe.
Okay.
I don't think so. Yeah, no, there's a border with Germany as well, I think.
And what languages do they primarily speak in Belgium?
I'm gonna get so much shit for not knowing those borders, by the way.
It's okay.
Yeah, the official languages in Belgium are French, Dutch, and German. But the German is only a small part of the population, and then it's just mostly either French or Dutch.
Yeah, in a lot of European countries, there's enclaves, particularly near other bordering countries where people are more likely to speak that language. There's the same thing happens in Switzerland, France, etc.
Yes.
The Netherlands, where people might be maybe in the eastern or western part of the country, speaking German is a lot more common. That's so unprofessional. So tell me a little bit about your experience growing up. Are you serious?
Bixby voice privacy contents have been updated.
Okay. We're going to have to cut that out. That's why we do a long cut too. So tell me a little bit about your experiences in Spain. Spain is a very interesting country. It's heavy on tourism. How is it there?
when I go, so I was born in Madrid.
Okay.
And then, so in winter, I would go to Madrid to spend Christmas. Madrid
Okay.
is a very Spanish city. It's there is tourism. There are foreigners that live there,
Mm-hmm.
but it has really kept its Spanish identity for the most part because it's right in the middle of the country.
Okay.
In summer, I would go to Catalonia, which is like northeast of Spain, to a small village, which is it is quite touristy, but it's not on the coast, so it's not, you don't get the hordes of like people that just want to go to the beach and that, like, that's terrible people that just destroy everything they touch. But Barcelona has a lot more influx of party tourism, short-term tourism. So
Yeah.
and people that are gonna maybe do a few days in Barcelona and then go to the beach
Mm-hmm.
because it's by the coast. So
Barcelona is the more nightlife city.
it is the more nightlife city, as far as foreigners understand nightlife.
Mm-hmm.
As far as reality is concerned, there's nightlife all over Spain, anywhere you go.
Okay.
Yeah, Spain is a nightlife country.
It is.
It always has been. Anywhere you go, yeah.
Is there anything interesting about Spain that other people might not know? You know, since you've spent quite a bit of time there.
I mean, it has an incredibly deep culture and long history of
I mean,
a lot of bad things as well. But like, if you go to Spain today, people are gonna be drawn to Barcelona and the Mediterranean coast. Food in Spain is like top 2, top 3 in the world.
Really?
At all times. It's got some of the best restaurants in the world. Like
That's
most
crazy.
Michelin
I didn't
star
know that.
restaurants. Yeah, there's a huge food culture in Spain. There's a variety of food because the east coast, the southern coast, and the north coast are completely different
Mm-hmm.
diets. Because the one has the influence from the Atlantic Ocean, the rest is Mediterranean, and then you have like inland
Mm-hmm.
type of cuisine. So it's the food is very varied. The ethnicities are varied. Like, Spanish people can look very different from one another.
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
Spanish is the second most widely spoken language in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, very similar to how if you go to London, you'll find a very big diversity of people because there's people from all over the world who visit here who speak English, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, there's diversity through immigration and colonization and through influx of migration, but
Yeah.
just the north of Spain for centuries was more influenced by migrations of Celtic people, like from Ireland and from the Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Whereas the south of Spain for centuries was more influenced by, migration around the Mediterranean. So
And,
so you're gonna have blonde people that are 100% Spanish, redheads are 100% Spanish, and then short, stocky, hairy dudes are 100% Spanish.
Yeah, and and that's one of the things that I wanted to touch on because over here in America, clearly, we have a big Latin American culture here is what it's called. But a lot of people don't understand quite how much that's influenced by Spanish. I mean, Spanish culture is actually, it's Spain. Spanish comes from Spain. A lot of things that are considered like Latin American culture are actually part of Spanish culture and as a whole because Spain, the Spanish Empire conquered most of these places at one point or another. And I believe that Spain was a little bit different than the French and the UK in terms of how they dealt with the transatlantic slave trade, etc. Like a big example of this would be like Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Like in Haiti, people are a lot more darker, while you'll find in the Dominican Republic, which is just an island split in half, in the same. Half the island was conquered by the French, half the island was conquered by the Spanish. But the Spanish had a lot more intermingling between their, I guess you could consider colonized or subjugated populations than the French and the British did. So there's a lot more diversity in terms of what's considered Spanish, I guess you could say. So I'm sure that's one of those observations you were just talking about there. Being Spanish, you could have such a wide range of looks.
I mean,
this is crazy. Okay, it's not going off anymore. That's never happened before. So moving on from that, tell me a little bit about Belgium. Belgians are very interesting. All I know about Belgium is waffles.
the best part.
Yeah. Is there anything else that is
I mean,
you
the famous Belgian exports or products would be waffles, chocolate, beer,
Okay.
and little known fact is I think it's
All things that make people happy.
Yeah, and I think it's the, I don't know if it's their number one or number two, but like either number one or number two world manufacturers of pool balls.
Oh wow, that's
For
a very
some-
interesting fact.
Yeah, when I read that, I was like, oh, okay, that was surprising. They were incredibly bad in the slave trade. Belgium was terrible.
Yeah.
They destroyed the Congo.
King Leopold II.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not a nice guy. He's he doesn't have a great reputation.
Yeah. No.
Belgians are pretty. It's a pretty chill country. Like nowadays, if I look at modern Belgium, it's always very influenced. It's always been very influenced by British culture.
Yeah.
They're pretty open because it's such a tiny country that everybody just comes through.
Yeah.
So it's very open to receiving culture from other places. And it's generally underestimated. People will think nothing of Belgium, but there's a bunch of great artists, like in the French-speaking world, that people don't even know are Belgian, but are Belgian. Actors, musicians, comedians, born in Belgium, but they made their career in France.
That makes sense.
Or
the UK.
Or the UK, yeah, but it's, I don't know, it's just a nice tiny little country. Food's okay. Just it rains a lot.
Is farming big there?
Not now.
No, not anymore.
There is farming, but there must be. But it's just been so overdeveloped towards the service sector. Then there is still farming, of course, but a lot less than before.
Cool. So how long have you been doing comedy?
I've been doing comedy now I just passed 4 years a few months ago.
Okay.
That includes COVID. So for what.
And where did you get your comedy start?
I started in Bangkok.
In Bangkok, okay.
Bangkok, Thailand. I was living in Bangkok, Thailand, and I started comedy.
Okay.
Went to a workshop, tried it. I wanted to meet some friends and try it out. I always loved comedy, and I just got hooked.
Would you consider it one of the best decisions you've ever made in your life?
Regarding comedy or in general?
It's comedy. Like in general, has comedy been a pivotal and great decision would you consider in your life?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so. It's given me purpose at a time where I needed purpose, and it's given me a creative outlet at a time where it was good for me to start writing, because it's not something that I used to do, and this has made me write. It made me write, and it's helped me process my thoughts. It's helped me improve as a person. I've learned to take feedback better, so I've learned to confront people better.
Yeah.
So it's been a big change, and if you look at celebrity or financial success or all of that, I don't know about that yet, but we'll see.
But you've made big progress. I mean, for only doing comedy 4 years, you just recently came off getting a was that the last episode? If so,
it was
we'll
one before. It was two episodes ago. Yeah.
Okay, so you just you're a golden ticket winner on Kill Tony, which is a huge accomplishment,
Yes.
for an amateur comic. Like, and I don't even, you sell shows. You were selling shows in Bangkok, no, in Thailand.
I mean, I was.
You were doing shows, right?
I was in Thailand. I was an open micer.
Uh-huh.
I would do I did a couple of features before I left Thailand. Then I moved to Europe, and in Belgium, I was performing every day.
Okay.
But I was mostly doing showcases with other comedians.
Okay.
Or open mics. I don't have a solo show by any means. The most I've done is like 30 and 30.
But they tell you, I mean, I don't know what you heard coming into comedy, but they would always tell me when I first started, like, it takes 10 years to be a really good comedian. And I mean, it for you to have come so far in only 4 years, I mean, it shows your dedication to the art form and your ability to comprehend and work out your content. So
I mean, I've been pretty obsessive.
Cheers to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I've been very obsessive about it, but I'll say that regardless, when I see people that are 10 years in, I can see what they're doing that I'm not doing yet. I'm not gonna tell people because you want to look good and you don't want to discredit yourself. But I can see like the control they have of their persona, the control they have of the stage and the commanding of the crowd. There's so much room to learn. So like I'm happy. Like I think for 4 years in, I've done very good. Clearly, like
you've done very well.
I've done very well. Just factually, now it's been pretty amazing what happened here in the last few weeks that I've been here. But otherwise, I know where I am concretely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how has the journey been for you? Because when you first come into comedy, everyone always has, when starting off anything, you always have this idea of what it's going to be versus what it actually is when you finally come in and figure out the process that you have to work through to get started. How was that beginning? Let's focus more on the beginning. How was the journey in the beginning?
So I started off in Bangkok, so it was mostly open micers. The people that had more experience maybe were like 3 years in, 4 years in max.
Yeah.
The guidance that they could give me was whatever they could give me, but it wasn't that much. So it was a lot of like studying on your own, like writing and writing and writing and reading and watching things on YouTube about. I thought I should also like educate myself not only about comedy but also about like movies and acting and screenplay and character development, and because I play a persona that's an exaggerated version of me.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we all do.
Yeah, of course.
But it is a part of me, what I put on stage. But okay, how do I define that? I know that I still sometimes my persona is not super stable, for example. So, but it's getting more and more and more concrete over time.
Yeah.
And it's just been loads and loads of writing and a lot of bombing, just bombing and bombing and bombing.
Bombing. But isn't there something beautiful about bombing? Because every time you bomb, or you bomb when you don't expect it, is even the better ones, because it's like you taught something. You go back and you learn something about.
No, bombing is beautiful because it teaches you things. But when I started, at some point, I was doing okay, and then I decided to start writing certain things, and I bombed for like 2 months straight.
Mm-hmm.
For 2 months straight, I couldn't get a bloody laugh on stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should quit. There's no point.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought, okay, try to switch things up. And then I got a good set. I had a good set, and that felt so rewarding after that much bombing.
Man, I mean, bombing for 2 months on stage, that's a struggle.
Oh yeah.
How do you mentally get through a moment like that where things are not going out your way, but you're determined and you have the drive to do it, but most people get stuck at that part, for something to not go your way, and then 2 months straight, you have to have like a special mental kind of fortitude to be able to push through that. How did you do it?
It was a mix of being very resilient, I guess innately or through experience over time, but just being resilient, trying to detach myself from the fact that I was really like doing poorly, like not let my ego get too attacked by it.
Excuse me.
And then just trying to think through the thing, but I almost quit a bunch of times.
Uh-huh.
It's a tough thing to do.
It is.
Now I feel incredibly encouraged. Now I feel like I'm on cloud 9.
And you should.
Yeah, I'm super happy. Comedy wise, I'm ecstatic about what's happened.
I don't know how much you are into science or the spiritual or just consciousness and manifesting things, etc. Talk like that. But I think Newton proposed it right when he said, there's an equal exchange in the universe. Alchemy says the same thing. You have to give in to get out. And unfortunately, like, there's no going to A to Z. You have to go through B, C, D, E, F, G first. And people don't realize it, but your time is the most valuable thing you have. To sit there and put your time and energy into something over and over and over again, at the end of the day, it will ultimately pay out if you stay consistent. And I think you're one of the great case studies of that. I mean, to bomb for 2 weeks, you started off in a foreign country, just going to a writing class, and then now 4 years, less than 4 years later, you're performing comedy in a whole nother country. You went from Thailand to Belgium and then to the United States now, where you're killing it. You're doing an amazing job. You come to the US and you win the golden ticket, which is one of the highest accomplishments for amateur comic on Kill Tony. And it shows that you've really put work into your set. Like, it's really hard to be funny in a minute, and you went up there and you killed it, dude. it's an amazing journey to see, and I think it's so inspirational to other people, you know, who want to try something. Because do you feel like you're just saying you feel like you're on cloud nine, you feel very very satisfied, but do you feel like the journey was worth it?
I mean, comedy-wise, for sure, of course. Yes.
For sure.
Yes. I came to Austin with the idea that I'm gonna try to see what the local scene is like. Joe Rogan has opened a club. There's loads of comedians. There's an active scene. I had been to Texas doing tourism before, and I enjoyed Texas. I'm gonna have barbecue. I'm gonna have a Texas lifestyle. It's gonna be fun. And if comedy doesn't work out, I can just take the car and do a road trip somewhere.
Yeah.
A friend of mine told me you can come to Costa Rica as well. So I had options. Like if things didn't go well, I thought there's other things I can do. Like I'm still gonna have fun. But I still remember, like I landed on a Saturday. I did open mics that same night. Then I did open mics on Sunday. One of the cool things I like about Austin is open mics are non-bringer shows, and you don't have to pay to play. So like you can just come. What I don't like about them is it's only comedians and there's no crowd, so it's really harsh to test a joke to a crowd that only react to when you say the most outrageous thing.
Yeah,
and
because the comics in the crowd. It's all comics.
And then on Monday, I'm sitting at Shakespeare's pub, second floor. Shout out to Shakespeare because they've been very nice to me. And I'm sitting there just waiting to see if I'm gonna get picked. But what I did do is, okay, go there, assuming you might get picked. So I put on the clothes that I would normally wear on stage. I prepared my set as though if I was going to go on stage. I had my things ready in case I had to go on stage. And then I was just depressed thinking, what the hell am I doing here with 300 or 200 comedians that are all desperate, all hungry, all want the same thing. They all want the same darn thing. And then you see one guy get picked and you're like, oh, wow, that's not me. But,
no, real shit.
You know,
real thoughts.
Yeah. F
Oh,
you.
wow,
I hate you. I mean, I'm happy for you, but also I hope you die on the way. and then I had signed up for the open mic at Shakespeare's that happens at the same time as Kill Tony. And I heard my name and I thought, oh, it's time for me to do the mic. Yeah. And I see Colton just like being like, hey, and I start running to the thing.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And like 10 minutes later, I'm a golden ticket winner. It was very...
Fuck yeah.
It's like just, you know, I was in
Brussels.
Brussels.
How did you feel after doing your set and getting that goal? To find out that you go down as one of the legendary golden ticket winners on Kill Tony, how does it feel, like, after? Just that moment after? People are trying to put cameras in your faces.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but you're still trying to process just coming off stage. What were you thinking?
I still haven't processed it.
Still haven't processed
it. People were cheering me on because I was one of the last ones to get picked. So when I got back out on the street, people were coming out. Of the show was ending. I was on the phone and people started to come out and were cheering for me like, yeah, Rick, blah, blah. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
It's almost like a dream.
Yeah, people recognize me on the street in Austin.
Just to see your work pay off, it's a
wild.
rewarding moment.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
But you see your work pay off, but then like for example, you guys know Ben Williams.
Yeah.
So like he's just been, you know, he got picked. And I was just so happy for him. Like I can see so many people struggle to like, they're just waiting. They're queuing for Kill Tony. They travel for Kill Tony. They're just putting their name in their hat and they're working on their act or they're not. Every time I see somebody that said, "Oh, it's my first time doing comedy,"
I'm like, "Whoa!"
You're taking spots away from so many people that are struggling. There's comedians living in their cars. There's comedians, like homeless comedians here.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's not.
No, there's several.
It's a significant portion of the population. And, you know, it's common with all art forms, whether it be painting or acting or, you know, DJing, you know.
But I think, you know, when I see that, I was thinking about my life in Brussels. And I'm like, well, I have a decent apartment, I have an okay job, a pretty good job. I have a good group of friends. I can eat. I'm self-sufficient. I'm fine. And these guys are struggling. It's just struggling. And I got the golden ticket, you know. So like, part of me is like incredibly happy. Part of me is like, dude, give money to all of those people out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of like, I get mixed feelings about it, but I'm not giving my golden ticket away to anyone. Yeah.
But I mean, dude, so
What's been really special about the golden ticket is I've seen about what so I'm the latest golden ticket winner, so I see all the previous golden ticket winners. You know, some of them have become regulars on Kill Tony. They've been called into the show, but it's also on you to make something out of what you do from that. Like you need to
agree.
How do I leverage this? Because otherwise you just get chewed up and recycled, and no, you have to leverage it.
And
so
people forget about you.
yeah. So what I was offered in the first golden ticket episode is to do Kill Tony until I left this place, which would add up to a total of 5 Kill Tonys.
Yeah.
So far, I've done 2, and they've gone well.
Leverage it.
And the goal is how do I leverage that so it becomes something memorable, so they're gonna want me back, so that my name becomes part of the lore of Kill Tony.
Yeah.
And I'm not just one guy in a statistic in a Reddit post. You know?
I agree.
But so that's the work.
Well, I have confidence. In you. You seem to have it pretty clearly figured out. I'm not gonna say 100% clearly figured out because nobody has that.
Nobody has that figured out.
But I think you have a good concept of what you want to do. You worked hard on your art form, and I think you're the type of person with the determination and drive who you're gonna make it happen. You know.
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna make it happen, but I do know that for me the fun part is because I have nothing to lose and I have something to go back on. Is I'm gonna just go as hard at it as I can. I'm gonna give it everything I can. Like I'm gonna try to be on stage as funny as possible. I haven't said a single joke since I'm sitting here, but you know, like I'm just writing and writing and writing. One thing I figured out for anybody that wants to go to Kill Tony is definitely prepare the interviews. Prepare those interviews. Because the first one I did for the golden ticket, I didn't prepare the interview portion properly. I still did great, I think, because I was locked in and so stressed out. But for the following ones, I was just like visualizing the interview, thinking, okay, if they ask me this, I'm gonna react like that. If they ask me that, I have that joke on lock. If they ask me this is what I can pull out of the drawer. If this is the guest, or if is Joe Rogan gonna be there, then I could say this. Is Tom Segura gonna be there, then I could say this. Like I was, I've been looking at the mothership schedules, like tour schedules of people trying to guess who's gonna be there.
That is very meticulous planning.
But you have to. That's the difference. Like then you're gonna go on the interview portion and do well at the interview portion.
And I think this is probably why you have an edge up above everyone else. You know,
maybe. But the interview portion is more time than your minute. Maybe you're doing 1 minute, but then you have like maybe 3 or 4 minutes of interview.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to kill it, because then you kill it for like 5 minutes.
Agreed. Yeah, that's a very interesting way to think about it. I think you just gave quite a few people some advice, you know.
And all of the interview questions, if you're funny, all of those are clips.
Yeah.
That are not your jokes.
Agreed.
So now I'm posting clips of all of my answers to questions one by one without having to burn jokes, which are online anyway, but you know, like it's just clippable. It's clippable content.
So I always like to ask the guests this because I always find it interesting how we all come into our own journey. But tell me a little bit about your first time ever on stage, the first open mic you ever hit. Do you remember? I remember it to a point. I barely remember the jokes I said. I remember it was in Bangkok. I had done the workshop. It was a 2-day workshop. And then they propose to you after that. At the end of the workshop, they tell you, well, next Friday we have an open mic if you want to do it. Because you work on a 3-minute set during the workshop. And they tell you can come and do 3 minutes if you want at the open mic then the following Friday. So I thought, well, if I've done this workshop, I might as well just do the whole thing and get that experience. I was really scared. I was really afraid. I was afraid of talking in public back then. Now I'm better, but I was scared. I had a joke about I added up how many times I had masturbated in my life and the time that represented, and in my overall, like how many hours of sleep versus how many hours of jerking off in my overall lifespan. And I think I added up to I had jerked off for over 2 years, just nonstop, something like that, something stupid like that. And yeah, but it's just okay. It's first open mic. Where are you gonna talk about jerking off and sex and it's just, it's always the same stuff.
And now I still joke about sex, but I try to make it a little more elegant. I still have a jerking off joke that I said last week, but whatever. It's.
Were you intoxicated your first time on stage?
No, I don't. What you mean, substance wise?
With anything, alcohol, marijuana, anything along.
No, well, I'm straight edge.
Okay, cool.
I think that's a term that's clear in the U.S. It means nothing in Europe. But if I say this here, it means something.
It does mean something.
I'm not vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat meat. I love meat.
Yeah, just no drugs.
Yeah, just no drugs, no alcohol,
substances that alter the mind.
Yeah, I'm weird enough. Like, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
I would say I was impaired just out of my own mind. Yeah.
I just always ask comics because like I think like probably like 8 out of 10 stories. Most people were like pretty intoxicated their first time or had several drinks to encourage them, some liquid courage to get them on stage that first time.
Yeah, and then it ends up in liquid bombing.
Cause that's what it is most of the time, yeah. But I think bombing is also just a common first experience on stage, you know.
No, I did okay. My first time went okay. I had like, you know, that fresh new joke energy plus the empathy of the crowd because they introduced this is the first time doing comedy, so everybody's like, oh my god, let's cheer him on and be supportive. And then the second and third time nobody cares anymore.
I wanted to ask you, have you ever had a moment that was really hard or really difficult for you to deal with on stage? Do you have a story?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, having to deal with a very obnoxious heckler, maybe somebody dying in the crowd, something crazy like that. We've had some weird ones, but
I've had nobody die in the crowd. So far I've had nobody attack me, or one situation I had was this, because I don't want to repeat stories that I said on another podcast. But one situation I did have was I had a show where the MC was hosting the show. The show was kind of going well. And then there was a guy on the front row that was kind of heckling. And nobody really understood what was going on. And then they started going at each other verbally.
Yeah.
And then the MC tried to like chase the person that was in the first row, he told him, you need to leave the show. But the guy wouldn't leave. He would stand outside, like at the edge of the room, and still provoking and like instigating and just messing with the MC to the point that the MC ran out through the crowd to punch him.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he end up getting the guy?
Well, the people got in the middle, but he just missed the guy. Yeah, he went for it. It was just and he was a big guy, so he had the power to just go through that crowd.
Yeah.
And it happened because apparently, so the guy that was in the front row was the ex of the girlfriend of the guy, and there was money involved, and they were still banging, and it was a whole messy situation.
Yeah.
And then he goes back on stage after almost, getting into this huge fight.
Yeah.
And then there's like, and now please welcome on stage Rick Diez. It's like, okay, half of the crowd was gone because they were scared.
Yeah.
The other half of the crowd was like, what the fuck? They were all petrified.
When stuff like that happens, though, you there's no way to start your set without addressing what happened first.
Yeah,
you have to crowd work that first.
Yeah, I crowd worked it. I addressed the fact that I was scared shitless. That next, please come back next week for our MMA tournament or whatever. I turned it into a joke, but I was still like scared because they were really like it got really close to me, and I'm not a fighter, like I am what I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, that didn't feel good at all.
So do you have what are your interests outside of comedy? Like I ask people this all the time, and I always need to clarify just a little bit. So I mean, like, are you fascinated in history? Let's say whether that be politics, or are you fascinated in video gaming, maybe specific games? What do you like to do with your free time? Is there anything that you're super interested in outside of comedy?
I mean, back home, I'm when I have free time, I do sports. I'm trying to keep healthy, so I do like weights or running or just general fitness. Like about 3 to 4 times a week. I play a little bit of tennis, very poorly with other comedians. It's quite a popular sport in Brussels, and but interest, it's TV and comic books.
Comic
I watch a
books.
lot of shows. I watch a lot of movies and comic books.
What TV shows are you interested in?
Just all of them. Like, it depends. I like.
What are your favorite fandoms?
Of recent times? I just rewatched the first season of True Detective, and it blew my mind even harder than the first time I saw the first season of
HBO True Detective?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But that first season is just...
Really good?
It's so amazing.
HBO makes great content. HBO is one of the few providers I can still rely on to make
to
good
this
content.
day.
Even
HBO.
source material adaptations, like Hollywood does terrible with source material adaptations, but even like HBO, like I'm excited for the next Dune, Dune movie to come out. They did a great job with House of the Dragon. What's another one that they did terrible with Velma? I don't know what the fuck. They were on a Disney. They were on a. They had a Disney moment there. They're like, let's just get an IP and just scrap it. Let's just fucking IP up. That's the first time I have ever seen them do that. But HBO is usually pretty consistent with adapting source material and making it great.
My HBO fandom started with a TV show called Oz.
I never heard of it.
It's a prison show. It's got what's his name? The actor, the bald actor that's was in the drumming movie.
The drumming movie.
Yeah.
Nick Cannon.
No. Let me pull that up because I really want to give that guy a shout out. He's just so amazing. Boom. It's 97. Yeah, it started in 97. J.K. Simmons. He plays a Nazi. The best Nazi I've ever seen played on TV. It's hilarious. But that show blew my mind because it started in 97. And back then there was nothing like that on TV. I mean, nothing. It was like violent and like sexual. And just the dialogue was super harsh and direct and raw. And then you moved on, and then it was like Friends, you know. I was like, it was like wow. Like when I got to see Oz, it was like every episode blew my mind. It was, and it was politically charged, racially charged.
I think my HBO journey started with either True Blood or a little bit of The Sopranos. It's one or the other, but
The Sopranos was amazing.
The Sopranos is one of the best shows of all time, even still. From the 90s.
I still haven't rewatched it. I binge watched the whole thing, and then I was like, I wanna rewatch it, and I still haven't done it. So it's on my to-do list for when I get back.
So you also read comic books. Are you into Marvel or DC?
On average, I'd say more Marvel.
Okay.
I'm more of a Marvel guy, but I don't exclude good DC things.
So what do you think about the recent? What do you think about the recent MCU? You know, Phase 4 has been a fucking mess.
It's disappointing.
It's more than disappointing.
I have no words. I don't know what's happened. All of the shows look cheaper than the previous ones. The production value has gone down.
I mean, it seems like they've overstretched their visual effects department. The writers are terrible right now. God knows what direction they're wanting to go in. The stories don't seem as interconnected.
No, everything's gone worse. I don't understand it.
It's like the end game was the end game for the writers. It's like
pretty much.
They decide to just scrap everyone after that last movie. You know, because Phase 4. I mean, I was so into Marvel. There's nothing I'd miss before Endgame.
Yeah, me too. I watched everything, and I rewatched everything during the pandemic. I rewatched all of them in a row in like a week.
Oh wow,
it was great.
I haven't done that yet. I've watched some of the key ones again, but I haven't rewatched like from the Incredible Hulk and Iron Man.
I did the whole thing. It's fantastic.
But I mean, I didn't watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier at all. And then every show I have watched has been disappointing. I got halfway through She-Hulk.
I thought Falcon and Winter Soldier was actually better than I thought it would be. Like, I thought it was good.
WandaVision started off.
WandaVision, I gave up on the first episode and I said never again. And
really?
Yeah, and people told me no, you have to watch it. It's good. And I was like, I don't care. I retried the first one. I re-gave up.
WandaVision was the best of the shows to me, and like the first few episodes, I was like, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
But it started to get way better. Yeah,
but the first few episodes is like 3 hours of my time. I have no, like, give me a good first one. Like, that's how you sell a show. You have a good first one. Yeah.
Grab me. You know. Yep.
Hi, Celia. How you doing? You're extra gothic today.
So welcoming in Celia Contreras. I invited Celia to sit with us today.
Boy, it's way worse.
But everybody will know that's my horse. Like a crow, like if I had a crow hitman that I could just like point and a crow would just come attack you, that'd be way better than anything. Honestly, that'd be the dopest thing on earth, because how do you prove that crow is mine? You can't. Like, a crow is a common bird. Like, if it was an eagle or something, yeah. It'd probably be like a proof of purchase or something. Like, people would probably but like if I had like an outdoor crow that was just like my friend who I raised since a baby, and I taught him a trick where I just point at somebody and he goes attacks him, don't tell me that wouldn't be like a little dope trick. Like, you have just like a crow that follows you all the time overhead, just always watching. And if somebody talks shit or something that becomes a little bit of an asshole, suddenly there's just a black bird attacking them. Like, you think you got to watch out for black people. Like, imagine being terrified about a black bird. Like, every time you go outside now, every time you see crows outside, it could be any one of them. Like, that's a terrifying experience for somebody.
I would definitely use that crow thing on 6th Street.
I would too.
Hey, do you? There you go.
Train it to steal drugs from people too.
Huh?
Just train it to steal drugs from people too.
Yeah.
It's like, I got the acid.
Yeah, that would be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
If you just had like a bird that would just steal drugs for you. Like, 6th Street would be the best place too. He could just be perched on top of one of the bars.
Okay, but if you had a horse, like, I like to drink, and horses, some of them like to drink too.
Whoa!
So,
Don't make
I'd
me
wanna
call
get drunk
Peter.
with a horse.
Don't make me call Peter. Don't make me call
No,
Peter.
call those motherfuckers. I'll fight every one of them. I love eating animals.
Why can't my horse have a good time too?
Yeah.
What would be your fight format? Like, how would you fight a PETA person? Would it be in the ring, in the street? Would you
Throw bacon at them.
Tell me when we're ready,
a
Patrick.
bacon off?
Oh, we're
Get the
back.
bacon
We're back streaming?
'cause You can't waste
I didn't even
bacon like that.
So we are now joined by Celia Contreras on the Rick Diez interview. Good to see you here, Celia.
Hi, Celia.
Yeah, so I mean, I just feel like a special person right now. I'm here with the golden ticket winner and another fucking killer from Kill Tony. Like, oh my god! And then just to think, my last Kill Tony set went terrible.
Was it? Did it?
Yeah, yeah. It didn't go great.
Should
it was
we talk about it?
It was pretty embarrassing. Yeah, we could talk about it a little bit.
Did
I
you
get some
walk
advice
Ric Flair?
Huh?
Did you walk Ric Flair?
Did I walk Ric Flair?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
No. Like, I still
somebody
haven't seen
walked
the
Ric
episode,
Flair.
but like he left in the middle, right?
But it's
Oh
not
yeah. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
hear about that.
But it's
Like-
not because the.
Because of the comedy. Like, I saw a clip of it. It was Dan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It
it's
wasn't-
like he made
yeah.
Ric Flair leave.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was a bit tough. Yeah.
It was Dan's.
I'm not sure. Like, I still haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I've seen it in live. But yeah, I can't really go into whatever hasn't been edited out.
So, as two people who have been doing comedy for quite a while, both of you several years at this point, and you guys are both doing really well in terms of. You might want to turn the mic off when you do that. Okay, so as two people who have been doing comedy for quite a while, 4 years and 7 years, and who are both really meticulous in the way that you design your sets and perform comedy, both doing really well. What is your advice for people who are looking to, let's start with get into comedy. What are some of the biggest things you recommend for people who are looking to get into comedy?
Like, just do it. If you bomb, you have nowhere to go but up.
This is true. Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't bomb my first time. I did good, but
Uh-huh.
I was like really afraid people wouldn't like me the second I did bad.
Uh-huh.
So I worked like super hard on my sets for the first 8 months.
You did?
But then I bombed, and I'm like, okay,
Oh, it took you 8 months to bomb for your first time?
yeah.
Damn, a killer.
Yeah, that's really good.
I just talked about my sex life and my home life. They'd be like, I like blue comedy, I like dark comedy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what that is, but thank you.
Yeah.
Now when people ask me that they tell me that they want to start into comedy
Mm-hmm.
before they've started, I'm like, hey man, not everybody needs to start comedy. If you enjoy comedy, you can just keep enjoying watching comedy, and
Yeah.
just tell them not to do it. I don't want to see them at open mics. I don't want to give them the land. Just don't do it. Just stay
don't
out.
do it.
Just don't do it. I want to see less people at mics and better people. So just don't do it.
That's also really good advice.
Yeah.
As somebody who thinks selfishly of myself, I actually find that to be great. I'd like to show up to Kill Tony and there just be 5 people waiting,
Like
rather than 300. I'm like, my odds aren't looking good tonight.
Dude, during the pandemic, I was mad. I had a list of comics I wanted to die.
Oh man, I had a.
But
set
you were
like
at the
that.
top of your own list, right? Or
Yeah, I was the only idiot who got a job. Like, everybody else got to stay home and day drink on unemployment. I was working at Circle K.
oh wow.
And like just dealing with people all day. And then like the thing was, people just wanted to leave the house, so it would be like every regular would come in like 11 times a day,
Oh no.
and like they like just buy one thing at a time. It's like, you can buy everything at once, right? And then just the fucking stupid face that they make when they're picking out the lottery scratchers, just the
Patrick, you turned my mic off. Why are you messing with the audio?
Trying to adjust the audio.
trying to silence the black man.
Yeah.
A beard like that and not be a Klansman. But you got tiki torches in storage. You bought on sale. Just kidding. No.
So for when comedy's not going your way, for those who have started, when they're having a rough time up there or bombing or just not getting as many pops as you'd expect, what is your advice, for having for dealing with a difficult time on stage?
Like, I guess switch it up. Like, I don't know. Like, I think bombing's good for you. It builds character.
It does.
So, like, I tend, like, if I am going bad, like, I will lean into it sometimes.
Okay.
It's just like, okay, so you don't like this. Let's get more fucked up. Let's go. I do that sometimes.
So that doubling down is sometimes the way you go about it.
But then other times when I'm like, okay, I guess we'll talk about wholesome shit.
Uh-huh.
I feel like a lot of comedians who start out see great comedians on TV, and they're thinking, oh, I can approach the same topics, and they're gonna start talking about politics or like complicated family life issues. When you're starting, learn to write a joke and try to say something funny. That's my advice. Say something funny, see why it worked, and then write something else that's funny. Okay. And after you've written enough funny things that don't make any sense together and don't fit your persona, try to start editing and try to write things with more intent. But first, just be funny. That's already great. If you're funny as an open micer, that's so much more than most open micers.
Yeah. Start off focusing on the pops is what you're saying.
Yeah, be
On
funny
the laughs.
regardless of whether you agree with the political idea, whether it represents your image, whether you identify with the content. Just be funny.
Okay. Yeah, beautiful. So, as two people who have done so well on Kill Tony, tell me, how are you guys dealing with this is something I've went over with Celia before, but it's also interesting to hear your perspective too, Rick, with the newfound attention, people coming up giving you advice about comedy or what they think of you and the way you do things,
Dude, I can give a general answer, but it's just I got a text message from a friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine that I'm still in touch with, and he's like an IT startup guy who quit his job to open up his own company, and he's like, it's doing well, and he's working on some VPN systems, whatever. And he came to see me perform once when he came to Brussels. He came to see me perform. He enjoyed the show, and now he saw my Kill Tony video. And so the Kill Tony first set that I did for the Golden Ticket, these are jokes that they might sound silly, but they're jokes that are in my set for months, or some of them years. They're tested and tested and tested and tested. That was my Kill Tony minute, right? And it got me a Golden Ticket, plus come back, plus I want Adam Eggert to see you, plus this and this and this and this. And then the guy breaks down all of my jokes and tells me, maybe on the first joke you could do this, on the second joke you could do this, on the third joke you could do this. What if you said this on the fourth joke? And I'm like, you don't even do comedy. That's what I'm saying. The guy doesn't do comedy, and he's like breaking down the minute that got me a Golden Ticket as it could be better. What level of like blindness?
Delusion? Yeah.
I have a friend like that too. He's in Phoenix. I love him to death, but he's an asshole and he does not know how to talk to women.
Uh-huh.
And like he wonders, he's like, why are all women such fucking whores? And I'm like, have you tried not treating them like they were objects and paying them?
Referring to them as whores.
Yeah. But like, oh, and I love it because he says this all the time. He's like, nobody respects women more than I do. But this bitch was a fucking whore. And he says shit like that. But like he was explaining comedy to me one time in his car when we were going to go pick up weed. And I'm like, you've never done stand-up. He's like, I know, I'm a fan. I have jokes, but I can't get up there. And I'm like, all right, so maybe know what the fuck you're talking about before you give me lessons.
Man.
And like I chewed him out one time because he was heckling a new guy. He's like, you suck. And I'm like, you don't even have the balls to get on stage. Shut the fuck up, Dan.
Man, there's always those people who are like window observers who will try to tell you how you should tinker with yourself to make it. And I've seen you both. I've watched both your Kill Tony sets. I mean, you guys are very meticulous and really good comics, both of you. You know, so I imagine it must be all the more frustrating for somebody who works on their art as hard as you guys do.
No, I mean,
It happens to me a lot.
yeah, but I mean, if some of the guests, like if Roseanne came and gave you advice, maybe some of it will be misguided because you know your persona more than her, right? Because you've been working on it for longer. But whatever she says carries weight.
Yeah.
But when Dan or whoever, that's
not
never
your cousin who didn't even think you were funny, and then tried to tell you this is how you should rewrite your jokes. Like, bitch, tell a joke first. Tell me how that works out. Then tell me how to write for a crowd of strangers that I've never met before.
Under pressure.
Under pressure. Under pressure.
Telling Tony Cruz about this yesterday because I did his podcast.
Uh-huh.
But like I get this a lot, like almost like every time I did jokes for my first 3 years, some dude, normally a white dude in his 50s, would come up. It's like, I got your jokes, but you need to dumb your things down, sweetheart, because people aren't smart enough to get them. I got them and I understood and I laughed. I was the only one laughing. And I'm like, no, there's like 4 other people laughing. Everybody else was just drunk. It's like, it's a dive bar, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I'd get that. Like, you need to dumb down your jokes and you shouldn't talk about the shit you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, you should talk about happy things. And I'm I didn't have a happy life.
Yeah. That's the thing, too. People will tell you that's not funny or that shouldn't be a joke. It's like, is this your first time observing comedy?
One thing that I find funny is, and that's been very interesting to me about my Austin trip, was in Brussels, people think I do dark humor. That I'm very dark because everybody there is like just little birds chirping comedy. And then I come here and I'm like, I see Celia talking about what she talks about. Please go see it. I love it. I think it's amazing, but it's so much darker than anything I'm going to say. I see Brian Holtzman and I'm like, okay. I've watched him. I've seen him twice now. And I'm like, okay, I'm not dark at all. It's just I'm surrounded by
but
people.
You're on the dark show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I talk about sadness, I talk about nihilism, I talk about depression in indirect way, about feelings of loneliness.
Isn't that considered like more blue comedy? Isn't that like blue comedy?
No, blue comedy is like raunchy stuff, like sex life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blue is sex life. I do have sex life, but it's very. I don't get into. It's not graphic, so it's still kind of clean, even though I approach the subject. But you're talking box cutters,
Yeah.
for 5 strong minutes.
I added more box cutter jokes. Right. And I think I figured out a tag for the one about my stepdad shooting him.
The box cutter jokes are killing, though. I mean, yeah.
My brother told me not to. Okay, so my brother's kind of okay with it. He's like, please don't do the box cutter walking in joke while we're there. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. But also now I have my siblings, like, I'm trying to say the joke about the eyebrows. I'm trying to take out my sister's names because they said they're going to sue me if I ever make it for whatever reason. But they're like, keep our names out of your mouth. And I'm like, fine, I don't want to give you bitches credit anyway.
This is America.
It's like, I can still say.
This America. Nah, you should be fine. I mean, even if you weren't to edit out the names, I think most of the time you'd be pretty fine. But understandably, I mean, comedy is in parody too. It's covered by the First Amendment. Most things in parody form are covered by the First Amendment, which is why you typically can't make a talk shit you can't typically like get up there and make a show where you're portraying a person's image in a bad light unless it's like in parody form, which is like why South Park and American Dad, let's say Family Guy, Seth Green as a creator gets away with it so much, or roast battles and stuff. You're allowed to make jokes and parody things. You're just not allowed to like directly copy or let's say do something with malicious intent. So malicious intent is a lot different. It's a lot different if you tell the story like, this is what happened and I want you guys to go, It's a very different thing. I wasn't
being malicious. I was stating facts. My sister doesn't know how to draw on her fucking eyebrows.
Yeah, and I mean it's actually pretty funny.
She's 56 and she still hasn't figured it out. I think that's why she really doesn't like trans people, because they can draw a line straighter than she can. So yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about that, or my other sister that's railing her dad. They're like, could you maybe not talk about the incest in our family? And I'm like,
Are you joking?
No.
What in Alabama? I thought you lived in Arizona.
No, and it's funny because my mom would say things like, incest is disgusting. I'm like, didn't you lose your virginity to your cousin? And she's like, that was second cousins in the eyes of the Pope and the Lord. That's okay. And I'm like, you are not helping your case, Mom. It's a miracle I have all my teeth.
That's why.
If you're gonna talk incest, also mention the Bible.
Yeah. I think that's why in the Bible it says, he without sin cast the first stone. It's like everyone's truly just throwing stones from glass houses. Nobody's perfect. We all live fucked up lives in one way or another. Some people are better at hiding it than others, but I know the truth. I know there's darkness in everyone's heart. So as somebody who does dark comedy, I mean, how have you been dealing with, so many people seeing very coarse subjects? I mean, this is not stuff that a lot of people would want to be released to the public, but as somebody who's true to the art form of comedy, you really don't mind, but
I don't give a fuck, because I want to open a dialogue. The reason I joke about that shit is because a lot of people go through it.
Exactly.
Miscarriages, very common fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody hears abortion, and I'm going to keep talking about that. It's I loved your abortion jokes. And I'm like, I do have abortion jokes, but those weren't them.
Those are miscarriages. Yeah.
But, I forget the numbers, but 1 in 3 women will have a miscarriage in their life. Or something like that. A lot of people are suicidal. A lot of people self-harm.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think they're a piece of shit. And I've done racist shit too. I'm going to talk about it. It's all I'm not perfect.
Yeah, nobody is. We've all fucked up. And I think the goal in life is just to become as good as a human being as you can. But there's a lot of lessons learned along the way.
I did get a message on TikTok recently. And it just said joking about suicide isn't fucking funny. And I'm like, okay.
It's kind of funny though.
I think so. And that's what I wanted to say right away, but I decided to be nice. And I'm as someone who's tried to kill themselves multiple times, and a lot of friends and family that I know have killed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 2 nephews kill themselves. My stepdad killed himself. Pretty sure my brother killed himself, but everybody gets mad when I say that. It's you just don't want him to go into heaven because you hated him.
Is it because they were all related to you? Or
yeah, I do seem to be the
common denominator.
Yeah. I see one denominator.
Oh my god, am I a Dementor from Harry Potter? I just suck the joy out of people.
The guy at McDonald's did die kind of easy off that caffeine there, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't know that dude.
And you did serve him that caffeine. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I want to talk about death a lot as well, for the same reason. I've just seen a lot of it, and I'm I just want to joke about it.
Yeah.
It's just part of life. I feel like in Western society that's influenced by Christian religion,
mm-hmm.
the relationship to death is really stupid. It's denial. We're all no, we're not really gonna die, and even if we did, we're gonna go to heaven or something. There's no death, and everybody's afraid of dying. Everywhere else you go in the world, you talk about death, and people are yeah, I'm gonna die. And people are way more pragmatic about it because the religion or the culture educates death in a completely different way. And that's taught me a lot. I feel we should normalize the fact that we're all gonna die, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is very interesting the way we conceptualize death here, particularly in America versus other Western societies, and Europe is a great example because they're probably our most our closest relationship in terms of Western societies. But here in America, you know, death is considered like more of a taboo subject. I think we do a really good job at trying to keep it as far away from the public as possible. And, you know, that's an interesting point that you bring up because as somebody who's spent a majority of my time here by far, I haven't traveled really a lot internationally, but I have been around this country quite a few times to a lot of different places. And it's just an interesting subject. And I wonder why that is. Why do you think that is, that we conceptualize death the way we do? It's not as, we don't seem to have as pragmatic of a view of it.
I mean, to me, it's linked to Christian religion. What I don't know is why Christian religion, Christian faith, painted death like that. Why did they make it so? I mean, I understand the factor of like, no, if you join our religion, you're not really gonna die, because we're gonna, you know, send you in the afterlife and you'll be saved, and you'll have that. So it's a marketing ploy, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, sorry for criticizing about whether you believe or not. That's a different thing. But the way
we're comics, I don't think.
Yeah, but the way
nothing you could say that can offend us.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
I still believe I have a soul, even though I'm not Christian. You know, so it's like I believe people believe whatever they believe.
Yeah.
But the marketing behind it, you know, like the people that were just the one thing is what the original faith is, or the ones how, another thing is how people are subverting it to manipulate people, and they want to, you know, hey, pay me your dues.
Yeah.
When I ask for donations, give them to me. Don't give them to those other people from that other religion, because I can promise you this, and they're competing for money and resources.
Yeah.
You know, build my church, don't build their mosque or whatever it is. And at the end of the day, it's all the same.
They're imperfect. They're imperfect systems built by imperfect people.
Agreed.
And they have their flaws. I will also say that, you know, before I get into this a little bit more, Christianity amongst every major religion has done as much positive in the world as they have done bad.
Agreed, yeah.
But I will say there is an interesting thing in terms of, you know, I never understood, like, what's the big deal about heaven. Like, heavens never sound like a great place to me. Like, every time I hear somebody talking about heaven, it's like, yeah, my grandmother is up there looking down on me. I'm like, that's pretty boring of an existence. Like, you think your grandmother just watches you masturbate? Like,
Also,
that's kind of good. That's got to be kind of boring. Like, honestly, if I want to be able to smoke when I die, you know, if we're gonna attribute human attributes to dying, you know, let it be a club. Like, I don't see why God wouldn't want me to have a good time. It says in the Bible, be prosperous, drink, have children. You know, I don't see why he wouldn't have bitches up there for me. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Am I right?
If I go
like,
to heaven and there's no cocaine, I'm gonna be very upset.
I would, yeah, I'm gonna be highly upset. Like, God damn it, that doesn't make. Oh, we gotta sit here in these robes and just sing all day. Like, that's boring. That's boring. I don't think God has that in mind. I don't think you're gonna be looking down on people.
Yeah, I feel like if you live a life of devotion and you take care of your family and you're responsible and you go to heaven, heaven should be the place where you're allowed to do all of the things you're not allowed to do when you're back on earth. It's
exactly.
Like, let me do all those drugs. Let me do all those things.
No, for real, it would just make more sense. It would make more sense. Like, I don't see nobody's perfect vision of happiness has ever been just like, at least the people I've talking to, like just sitting there meditating in internal peace. Like, that's not how people were designed. And I mean, the in terms of the Bible, Christianity, it's structured very much like it was written by a person, because it was. I mean, most God shouldn't really have a form technically. Like, this is all personification, because like if God is as God says it is in the Bible, it wouldn't make sense for it to be a man. Yet most people idolize God as being like this man in the sky, and it's just kind of like, well, he wouldn't really have cock and balls now, would he? Like. You said what?
I think God's like the Joker. It's just some Joker ass shit. He's like, I'm just gonna fuck with these guys and see how they respond.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
But no.
When I go to heaven, I want to be able to like meet a few club owners and club runners I know and be able to just punch them in the face every day.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That means I will feel so happy.
Yeah,
I will feel it. Yeah, eternal peace. Just like
heaven. I feel like if heaven was anything, it'd be a perspective based it would be a perspective-based reality based on whatever you envision to be the happiest form of your life. Like, if it was a real place, I feel like that's what it would be.
Yeah.
It would be like a perspective-based reality, because heaven would be different for everyone. Like, I unfortunately, like, I wouldn't want to go to my grandma's heaven. That shit is hell to me. That shit is hell to me. Like, you have to get up every morning and go to church all day, like, and the days last forever. God damn. Like, no, that's not really my idea of fun, and I don't think God would put me through that.
I think one of my favorite quotes about heaven is hell is you go to heaven for the weather and hell for the company. And, like, I relate to that shit. It's like, can I get day passes to hell?
Man,
It's
no,
like, I
for
want to
real.
talk to some people.
I want to go see Whitney Houston perform.
It's like, I just want to go visit my parents.
Like, fuck.
In Asia,
I just want to hear Michael Jackson do Billie Jean one more time.
In Asia, I've seen this in Singapore and in Thailand. I can't remember if I saw it in China as well, but they have like temples of hell, they call them. And that's like a temple run by monks. But they have a whole section that's full of statues, like large statues of demons torturing humans for the crimes they've committed during their life. And there'll be always next to each scene, there's like a little accountant that has like, this is the crime that's been committed, like I don't know, stealing, being unfaithful, abortion, whatever it is, and then the torture is in full display, and people bring their children, and I'm talking like spikes going through body, vaginas.
It sounds like a Catholic country.
Yeah, but vaginas ripped open, just the wildest imagery you can imagine, just terrifying imagery, and it's just open for you to walk in there, and since I saw that, I was like, maybe I don't want to go to hell. It sounds painful. It doesn't sound fun.
It doesn't sound fun. I will give them that. They did make hell seem like a terrible place.
I honestly don't think if there is a heaven or hell that I'm getting into heaven at all. And, like, I'm okay with it, because my thing is, it's like free will. This is my life. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it.
Yeah, I just hope it restarts right after. That'll be better than going to hell.
That being said, I really, really wish it's like Coco. Because that'd be so cool. I want to be a skeleton person.
Yeah. Get to be in the afterlife singing and
Finally
dancing.
be skinny. It's like,
So-
I guess I wasn't big boned.
So, what are your concepts of the afterlife, Rick? Do you have any? What do you believe happens after death? Do you have any religion or any belief system in place?
If I went by the religion I've grown up in, I would believe in reincarnation.
You grew up Buddhist?
Yeah,
Okay.
but right now I believe that you die and it feels good because your body secretes a lot of like chemical things that make you feel
Endorphins
good.
and-
Yeah, whatever it is, I read about that. And then maybe there's kind of like a feeling of like you don't realize you're dying and you just feel fine, and then you're gone, and then that's done, and that's it, and then that's it.
You got to do
And
DMT
since you feel good while it's happening, I mean, even if you had a horrible accident, you're not gonna feel really good, but your body's still gonna shut down all of the pain receptors and all of that. So like at that moment, you're gonna accept death, and you're just gonna let yourself die.
I had this. Somebody asked me this question, like, what do you think happens after you die? This is probably like a week ago. And I was pretty high at the time, but I felt like my answer was great, and I've been sticking to it since. And I'm just like, I don't know, but I feel like I know every morning right before I wake up. Like, I feel like death would be more akin to sleep. Like, the crazy thing is, like, it's weird how easily, because we're so used to it, we get comfortable, we relax, we calm down, and we go into this state where we completely disappear for a few hours. And we might not come back. We don't know for sure if we're coming back, but we're just so used to coming back that we're completely okay with this. Like, in reality, like, like somebody can murder you in your sleep. Like, it's crazy, but you know, we're so used to this process. I feel like death would be more akin to like the same thing. You just slowly drift off, and you don't know what happens after that. It's just all darkness, you know.
It is weird. Like, I do lucid dream a lot,
Uh-huh.
but like, I have a lot of fucking weird ass dreams too.
Really?
Yeah, but like, I've died in my dreams before. Like, I'm just sitting there straight up dying. Like, normally I wake up when I die, but one time I died in my dream and just woke up in a different dream.
Oh damn!
Yeah, like, my open mic got shut up outside. It was like a rambunctious bar in Phoenix. It felt so real, and I was like just there dying. And then like I started slipping into the blackness and I felt really cold. And then I just woke up in my bed, but I was still asleep. Then I go downstairs and there's like pufferfish just randomly floating everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm still dreaming.
You incepted.
Yeah, like a lot of weird stuff happens when I dream.
Jesus.
But there was this one time I had a dream I was walking through the darkness and I kept walking and it just got darker and colder and darker and colder. But like I stopped and I had a feeling like if I keep walking, I'm not going to wake up ever again. And I'm like, okay. Then I turned around and just started running really fast. And then I was at the beach with killer whales.
Yeah, I try not to. For the most part, I rarely ever dream. Like I'll go months to sometimes years. It feels like really months to weeks without dreaming because this is a thing that we come to find out now. I'm a heavy weed smoker, and you guys know this for the most part. Like I probably consume an ounce or two every 3 to 4 days. And because of that, like we didn't know this originally, but the heavy THC uses blocks REM sleep. REM is rapid eye movement sleep. That's the state you go into when you dream, like the deepest form of sleep. And you don't go into this for very long periods during the night. But it's something you can observe, like if you have a dog or somebody who sleeps rambunctiously, the moments where they dream, their eyes will move a lot and they'll kind of like twitch and stuff. Heavy THC uses blocks this. So when the moments where I stop smoking so much and I go down to maybe like a gram or two a day or absolutely quit, like I get these crazy, like super vivid dreams where like it feels like I'm actually there. Like I get dreams where I wake up and I'm still inside of a fucking dream, but they're so vivid, like, and then they become scary. So I really try to I really try to stick to my usage, and that's one of the reasons why. It's just like I used to at one time at 16 I had completely stopped smoking weed for like 2 or 3 weeks. That was probably the last time I outright stopped, and I was getting these I forget what they're called, that night terrors. They're not night terrors, those are bad dreams, but these moments where I'd wake up but I'd still be like halfway asleep, and
sleep paralysis?
Sleep paralysis. Yes, I was getting really bad sleep paralysis where I'd be halfway awake but couldn't move. Like, oh my God, it was like the scariest thing on earth. It happened to me like 6 times, and then I started smoking again, and it went away.
It happens to me every once in a while, and like I'd always used to fight against it. But, like, I was told that's the worst possible thing you could do.
Yeah, I start to panic. You feel like you're dying for some
like,
reason.
The last time, like, I just looked where I wasn't supposed to, and, like, it was kind of like a body. Mm-hmm. But there was something just right next to me looking at me.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It was like a human body, and I was just staring at it, and I'm like, sup? And, like, then I woke up.
Yeah, I'm black, so one thing about black people, we are very... for as tough as we act, we are terrified of anything supernatural or anything weird. Like cats, anything.
Yeah, I get called Devil Woman a lot when I do tarot card readings.
Yeah, that sounds like some black people shit. But yeah, even like anything that's not a cat or dog just scares the shit out of me. Like birds are cool, like from a distance, but like I don't know if you've ever seen like the beak of a bird, but like a full grown parrot. But they look like they could take a whole finger off. Like, I don't like animals like that. I love animals. Like, I love animals from books and TV shows, but I don't.
So, and birds are not part of TV shows and books?
Yeah, most of them. Because I grew up in the city, so I just really saw pigeons. I really saw, like, pigeons and crows.
I've seen some hawks. Vultures are cool as shit, but they are massive.
Yeah, I've seen a hawk every once in a while.
They're huge. Like, I thought I was actually trying to work on a joke about it, because there was the California condor who was going extinct. Mm-hmm. So they relocated them to Arizona. Uh-huh. And they started to thrive. But, like, everybody, like, there's the bumper stickers all over Arizona. It's like, don't California my Arizona. And, like, go back to California.
Well, they have those out there, too.
Yeah.
They had those in Texas when I first arrived.
It's like, damn, even the condors left California.
They're charging. The condors are gathering around and feeling like, man, the taxes out there are crazy, dude. They're taxing us to sit on top of these pole lines now. It sounds like an out of California conversation. Like, oh my God, the economy is so bad.
I think it's funny that you guys have a team called the Chargers, but have so many power outages. It's like that's kind of a fuck you.
We do have a lot of power outages. The weather is always great, though. I will give us that. You know, as a California native, there's so many pros to the state, but there's just so many cons. The state is going to shit. It's an unfortunate thing, but I'm here in Texas, enjoying some of this good old American patriotism and freedom. You know, I joke about it all the time. I tell people when they ask where you from, I'm like, oh, I feel like communism from California. Yeah, please take me in. I'm sorry. I promise I won't ruin this place. I promise I won't ruin this place. All I want to do is smoke weed and maybe shoot a gun every once in a while. You know, just have a real American adventure.
Shooting guns can be fun.
So as a foreigner, Rick, how do you think about the American tell us a little bit about the international perception of Americans. I always like to go through this with foreigners.
I mean, there's the stereotypes, right?
Yeah. Tell us some of the stereotypes. It's hilarious. It's okay, we know, but I just want to hear it again.
I mean, I don't agree with them because I've traveled in the U.S. a lot. But they do apply. I guess loud.
Yeah.
Loud, just unnecessarily loud. Not that Europeans can't be loud. We can be loud a lot. But the thing is, the reasons why Americans are considered loud is because they're loud in places where Europeans know this is not the place where you're supposed to be loud.
Yeah.
So like you'll visit a church and be loud in it because they think it's a touristy place because they're on doing tourism. But if I go to a church here and I start talking loud, people are like, what the hell are you doing here? What the hell are you doing here? Like, it's just different codes, right? So it's like they lose the sense of consciousness when they come to Europe.
Yeah.
But they're loud. They don't understand food, even though it's not true. Like the food here is amazing, but it's completely different. So it's like there's the perception that the food is shit. The perception that there's loads of that here it's way more racist. There's that perception which is not true. It's equally as racist. It's not more or less racist. It's just the debate is different.
I think that's also because European media is downstream of American media, and right now like the culture war is a big thing. But in reality, if you ever walk around in America is probably one of the most diverse places in the world. Like there's no look between Americans on who is American. I've never had this idea. This is what a person looks like who's American. If you speak English, like it doesn't matter what you look like, I will assume you're American, unless it sounds like some shit like a different type of English, like from the UK or something. But like there's no common look. There's no common look or class to like being an American, which I think is a beautiful thing. We are big and we are dumb though. And that's a real common one. We are big and dumb. That is but we're entertaining.
One thing
we are entertaining.
One thing we also feel like is you guys have an obsession with, America is number one.
Okay, they ingrained that shit in our heads.
I know that, but but from Europe we're like, we come to visit and you're like, and we think, no, you're not. It's like by far not.
That's fair.
The situation here is terrible for so many people.
No, we live in Rome. Like America is not great at one particular subject. I think the thing with America being number one is just that we are in a way, but it's in a very unique way. We dominate the world, and that's what we're number one in, is just dominating the world all around. Everything in Europe, like if you were to ask the common everyday American, like what's going on in Germany or Belgium or the UK, they have no fucking clue. No. Like they don't know about the politics. They don't know about any shows out there. They don't know about the music. But if you ask like the common person in, let's say, London or Berlin or Hamburg or Barcelona, what do they know about America? They probably tune into several American shows, tune into several American artists, use several American apps, several American technologies. It's just like the thing that we do really well here is the diversity and the ability to cultivate talent and creation. Like we are loud, but I think it blossoms so many different personalities. I mean, I think that's why the rest of the world is so entertained by us more than anything. It's just like, I would never do that.
you underestimate how much people do consume local entertainment as well. But I mean, for sure.
No, I'm not saying that it's.
An average Spanish person will consume more American content than an American person will consume Spanish content.
Well, the average American would consume no Spanish content,
Yeah.
like produced and made in Spain, probably none. But the average Spanish citizen is much more closely in
Yes.
tune with American culture
Yeah.
than American culture is with Spanish culture. And the culture war rages here, so it's kind of like that's what they get to see. That's what they see about Americans is that we are fucking divided between left and right, and and the police are killing black people, and all this bullshit that the media pushes out that is not necessarily true. But it's just part of the day and age where we live in an internet where things are sensationalized. You know, sensationalization sells. They've been doing that for a long time, and the internet has just took it to another level.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I want to check out Europe. I want to go there and challenge everybody to a drinking contest in each country.
Ooh, there's some countries you might not want to do that. You might
You will
die.
be surprised.
Yeah,
Oh,
you might
no.
die before you.
Most people here suck.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm looking to be challenged.
Oh, you will be.
Yeah, like you go to a lot of the northern
Makes
countries,
sense.
like
Yeah.
Ireland
You're
or
grabbing
Norway or
beers from
something. You
freezer.
might die before you get halfway through to them. They'll be completely sober, but
My friend was telling me this story in university. There was they had drinking contests, and they like beer drinking contests, but like vast amount, just vast amount. They generally have a bucket next to them so they can puke and keep going, just because they're racing to see how much they can drink.
yeah.
Well, I'm American and Mexican,
Yeah.
and there's some native in there.
And there's one.
That's like 3 levels of alcoholism.
No, I have no
no,
doubt
but
you can keep up.
I
but-
went to a wedding in Poland, and they were drinking vodka for breakfast. That
Yeah,
was starting. Let's
Why
start
would
the day.
anybody invade that country? That sounds lit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hitler was jealous.
It's a big country. It's got a lot of borders.
It's past noon, right?
Yeah, it's way past noon.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for it.
I'm pretty gay. My birthday's tomorrow.
Oh, your birthday's tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Happy
holiday.
birthday.
What are you gonna do?
And I'm going to Cutthroat Karaoke tonight with Juanita.
Oh, I'm gonna go there. I think.
Fuck yeah. I'm gonna spend all day cleaning my room, so it's not nasty when I get back.
Uh-huh.
Because Thursday I leave for Skankfest,
Uh-huh.
and then I still have to write roast for my friend.
Are you excited for Skankfest?
I am, but like I didn't want to go against my friend because he's beaten me in 2 roast battles, and I wanted to like win the naked roast again because I won last year.
Celia is doing the naked roast at Skankfest. I was
Yeah.
about to say.
But me and my friend sent each other nudes, and I was just straight up looking at his nude body at Shakespeare's for like half the time, and people are like, "Are you looking at porn?" I'm like, "No, this is my friend Chase."
Oh, that's
It's like, "Why are you
incredible.
looking at him?" And I'm like, "I'm writing roasts." It's like of him naked. I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it.
That's incredible.
That is incredible.
It's fun. It's very freeing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like, I only got nervous about taking my clothes off like right before I went up, but everybody's like, "Aren't you scared to do the naked roast because you know you're." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit about that. I've taken off my clothes in less, and I've had sex in public places. It's like I want my roast to be good." So I was just focused on that, and like I went against a porn star named Evan Stone, and like I was just watching his porn for like 4 hours straight in my hotel room writing roasts. It
That's incredible.
was
That's
a good
good.
time. My friend's mad at me that I didn't fuck him. He's all like, "You had one job. What was your job?" And I'm like, "Fuck Evan Stone." He's like, "Did you do it?" "No." He's like, "I could have had a cool Eskimo brother." "No, it's just all the fucking open micers in Phoenix." I'm like, "I'm sorry."
So we have held up quite a bit of your time, Rick. When do you get out of here?
I get out of here at the end of this week.
At the end of this week. Cool.
Dun, dun, dun.
So how have you enjoyed your time here in Austin? Tell us a little bit about the difference between the Austin scene and, let's say, performing internationally in Belgium and Bangkok, etc.
I mean, I'll say like the open mic and like amateur scene and or semi-pro scene.
Mm-hmm.
We get crowds quite easily in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
The crowds are not as educated as here, so they're a bit squeamish. They
Mhm.
need like easy humor,
Uh-huh.
but not everywhere. Like if you get like more working class, blue collar types of crowds, like in smaller towns,
Yeah.
you can go harder. If you get like posh little, like privileged crowds, they can't take anything. It's very difficult. So you have to adapt. But what I did like about here is, which is what draws a lot of people in, is that here you have a chance to actually chase a dream.
Yeah.
In Europe, you have a chance of like growing slowly, having to go through a series of glass ceilings until you pay your dues at the pace that's directed by the powers that be, and there's no shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like unless you like break out on social media, but because the client base is so much smaller in Europe because of language divisions, the algo is not gonna push you as hard as here.
Okay.
Because even if you can blow up in France, but you still only have access to the French market, which is big because you also have like African market and like a French Africa market, French speaking Africa.
But those cultural differences make it also a little bit harder.
But the idea that you can come here, get on Kill Tony, and then end up with Roseanne or with the stuff that I've had, like that, it's just like, it's mind blowing. The idea that's possible and that it's accessible and that it's happened. So it's real. It's a real thing that's happened to me and to you. It's
so fucking weird. It's
weird as fuck, but it's also incredible. Like when I'm doing my open mics in Brussels, I'm not thinking, oh, this guy's gonna discover me. At best, you can maybe, hey, like, do you want to do my birthday party?
Yeah.
It's like, maybe I'll pay you a few $100 or something.
And that seems to be the common experience with most international comics that I talk to. It's like, it's a beautiful thing to be able to go into sell out a show and have 120 people there. But the thing about this place that makes it different is the small connection between here and opportunity. It's so much easier to find opportunity and to become a working class paid comic or to get exposure, and I think it just also like forwards a little bit of this notion that America is a great place for opportunity. I mean, Hollywood exists here. All the major media companies. Like, if you want to do it big, like America is the market internationally where you kind of eventually want to get to. Even if you're, let's say, a Spanish-speaking comic, if you can find your way in Hollywood, and
but statistically, it doesn't make any sense. I got incredibly lucky. Like, so many people have more talent than I do. Come here, get nothing.
That's how I feel about it. And I do good on the show because I have one-liners.
But do they? But do they though? But do they though? I mean, because I've watched both your sets, and I've been in and out of Austin for 3 years now. This last time, 6 months I've been living here now. I've seen almost every comic do their sets, and I really believe that you guys are both in your own rights. And though you guys do different forms of comedy, very special and meticulous comics, And I don't like to put theories on the internet or anything like that, but I'm just saying they pay attention over there at the mothership and Kill Tony. They pay attention, and I think they know that just as well as I do. And I think that there's a reason why both of you have done as successful as you are. You are getting ready to tour with Roseanne, and you have a golden ticket. I mean, you can go up here on Kill Tony anytime that you want now.
I will say this: if I'm gonna plug anything, is keep watching Kill Tony.
Yeah.
And then you'll see. It's gonna be interesting.
Fuck yeah.
Watch Kill Tony, but I'm Team Legion of Skanks.
Fuck yes.
Skank Fest was the first comedy festival I ever got into. They made me feel special.
So let's get ready to wrap this, because it's been almost 2 hours now or more.
Speaking of rapping, did you get any locals pregnant when you were here?
No.
You should have.
I tried. I gave it my best shot.
The old college trap.
Yeah.
But do you have any closing words for the audience? Anything that you want to plug?
Well, I want to plug myself, I guess. Follow me on @SadmanRick on every platform.
Okay.
Rick Diez is spelled R-I-C, not R-I-C-K. Diez is D-I-E-Z, not D-I-A-Z. But it doesn't matter. If you can find me, you'll find me. I will say
Z means Z, Americans.
Yeah, Z, yeah, exactly. And I'll say this. I had an idea of what Kill Tony was before doing it. And now that I've done it and I've met the people running it and I see who's behind it and what they're doing with it, my respect for Kill Tony has increased tremendously.
No, I really do love the show. I need to catch up on a lot of episodes. Cause like I'm in the like Kill Tony group too,
Yeah.
but these people like know like all the episodes and like, hey, whatever happened to this dude from 5 years ago? Episode this.
Oh, no,
like,
they're
and they're
mental.
like just like
Yeah,
yeah,
it's great. It's fantastic.
like it's cool as shit. But at the same time, I feel dumb. It's like I don't know who any of these motherfuckers are.
Yeah, okay. It's hard to keep track because we're doing comedy. We're performing every night. It's very. We have. I don't know.
meet
You had.
so many people and I
Yeah.
zone out and like
Yeah.
I keep like every time I meet somebody famous, I don't realize it until after the fact. Like I recognized Roseanne, but I fucked up the David Koechner thing. I met Sam Talent and didn't realize it was him until after the fact, but we did have a great conversation about mushrooms.
He's a nice guy, Sam Talent.
He is so sweet. But I didn't realize it was him until after. He's just like, hi, I'm Sam. I'm like, hi, I'm Celia.
Yeah, he's very approachable and nice.
He is. But I felt dumb afterwards, and I'm like, I met Sam Talent. Like, I did that to him. I did it to Jamar Neighbors when I first met him at Skankfest.
But maybe that's how you had natural conversations with them instead of just being like.
I do get nervous.
Yeah.
So, like, it is better if I don't recognize somebody because then I'm just going to be like, I have low self-esteem.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something stupid.
Yesterday I had a bit of that. Yesterday I'm not gonna say the name because of I can't now. But I met one of my heroes, and I was like, damn, how do I talk to this person? You know, I was just so excited. I had to like keep calm, find the right moment, make sure it was organic, not eat too much of their time, but still be like, hey, dude, like, you know, I saw your special, it was great. I saw this, it was great. Thank you so much, and just like back off, you know.
Man,
but it was, yeah.
That's another great thing about Austin, and I mean, the scene is so intertwined.
Yes.
And I mean, all the major talents, they like to hang out at the clubs, just like a lot of the amateur open mic talent does, and they'll sit and they'll talk to you, you know, if you approach them, or sometimes they'll approach you, and it's some of the most beautiful moments ever, because, you know, our scene is very different from something like music, where the higher talent will come and engage with us and really sit there and have a conversation with you. I know Jamari Neighbors was talking to me after my Kill Tony set the other night, and he gave me some really good advice, and it encouraged me so much. And, you know, just the other day, we were sitting back there. I was on LSD, so I was like, I was tripping out. But I saw Jesse Jet Ski Johnson came back there with a few people, and I was waiting for my moment to kind of calm down because I didn't want to like go over there with anxiety. But like she started walking out, and Celia was just like, she's going. And I'm like, I know, hold on.
Jesse's a sweetheart.
As soon as she hit the door, I said, grabbed her on the shoulder. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't want to like grab you like that. I'm sorry. I'm on acid. Please forgive me. I'm like, this is not going great. I just want to say, I like you. I just wanted to say hi. I don't mean I like you, but I like wanted to say hi. But like, no, I do like you. But
Drew Santana.
I was definitely having a Drew moment. It was hitting me hard.
It does crack me up, like, because I keep going on adventures and like I keep fucking audience members. One of the dudes I fucked was after the Roseanne episode. He's like, "You want to go to a strip club?" It's like, "Sure." I'm like, "Can Drew come?" And like Drew's just standing there, and he's like, "What do I do?" And I'm like, "You show her some respect." And I handed him a stack of ones. And like I didn't have any money, and I told that guy that. And like we end up getting to the strip club like 45 minutes before he closes, and he orders a bottle of fucking vodka, like we hadn't been drinking all day. Jesus. But like Drew's just sitting there like, and I'm like, it's fine. Go up there, like don't grab her ass or her tip, but slide it in, just that. If you're nervous, like do it on the top strap. And he's just sitting there. It's like, and I'm like, okay, do it this way then. Go like that.
See, I'm so cold. When I see moments like that where people don't know what to do and they're just nervous, I would have told them something like, dude, go put your face in her asshole.
I can't wait till I have hooker money.
That's what
like
you do.
Hooker and strip club money.
That's how you do it here.
I love bitches.
If you put $20 in, you could, like when you open the front, make sure you do it from directly in the front. You take a long peek and you put your hand in and make sure you get the money nice and in there, right in between those lips. Oh, he would have been kicked out so quickly.
But he's like, I like the tall one. His voice is breaking.
She's like, good luck, buddy. She's a stripper.
But
she will talk to you. Just make sure you got that money rolling.
That's true.
All right.
But Celia, you go ahead and plug your Instagram and stuff real quick for me.
It's Celia, CELIA_A_GRAM. So it's Celiogram. Like, I thought it sounded cute at the time, but it's so hard to tell people. And also, I used to sell weed, so I thought it was like a good name at the time.
YouTube and TikTok. You want to share those?
Just Google Celia Contreras. I'm saying it like a white person now. Celia Contreras comedy.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Any closing thoughts for the audience?
Send me hooker money. Please. I'm tired of being nice to people for sex. I'm just kidding.
All right,
I want to be
guys.
disrespectful. Just kidding.
That's been another great one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hunter, on the ones and twos over here for us today, filling
Great
in
job,
for
Hunter.
Patrick.
Fuck, did you kill
Great
Patrick?
job. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Great job. All right, that'll be it for us today.
Yay.
Catch
Thank
you
you.
guys later.
Wahaha.